Hello, and this is number 37 of travels around my, we'll go the other way today, bedroom. And I'm taking you back to Lithuania for installment number 2. I was even thinking that maybe there will be a third one. So we will see how we get on. Because I have, of course, so many things to tell you. So yesterday I opened my envelope of memories and found so many things. So I wanted to share with you this, which is what I found. It's my contract of employment from the school that I worked at, Šiaulienų menų mokykla. And it's just so nice to see these things, dated on the 30th of October 1992. And I had a look at all the things that I have kept from trolleybus. So we have trolleybuses over there. Tickets, the either the tiny little ones, like that, or those ones here as well. Oh, of course, I totally forgot. You had to pay something to go into the old town. I remember, I just totally forgot that. It's a beautiful old town. It's on the UNESCO heritage list. So you used to get a little authorization here that enabled you to come into the old town and park in the old town. And you used to have to write your number plate here. Wow, I totally forgot about that. And okay, what I wanted to share was also, before I go back to working in the supermarket. So this is a little agenda, a little book that I had that I wrote when I took that 1-week trip across Europe to go to Lithuania. And some of the things in there just really put a smile on my face, especially this, actually. So one thing that you won't know about Lithuania is that the Lithuanians are mad about jazz. So this was a ticket for 1992 Vilnius Jazz Festival. So it's one of these things that are very surprising, in the same way that, for example, the Lithuanian favorite sport is not football, but it's basketball. They very often get not gold medal, actually, because the Americans always get that, but in basketball, but bronze medal or silver medal for the Olympics. Which is completely crazy, I even have this. I used to smoke a lot. The cigarettes were only 50p a packet. So that was a vice, which I'm very happy I don't have anymore. So there's all sorts of little things, and I just think it's amazing when you take the time to write down things. We tend to travel so quickly now, and we don't take the time to sit down and write a journal. And mea culpa, I don't do it anymore. And I really ought to, because to go back and to be able to read all these things and even find things like, which is totally crazy. This is a sample. Actually, it's crazy, but it's interesting. You'll understand. This is a sample of the toilet paper that we had at the time. And I don't know how, can you hear that noise? This is the toilet paper. It is not bottom friendly. I can tell you that. I had forgotten that as well. We didn't have any washing powder. We had these big black soaps that we would rub and then wash either ourselves or the clothes or even the dishes with. So all sorts of different things. And actually, I also wanted to share one of the things with you, which is this thing that I found yesterday, and I can't remember what it is. So if there is someone who can help me that's from Lithuania, I think they might have been rationing tickets, but they have summer, they have winter, and they have spring on them. So I can't really remember totally forgotten what they were. It's the onset of Alzheimer. So I am in this supermarket, and we opened the supermarket on the 14th of July because it was a kind of French-Lithuanian supermarket. All the goods were coming from France and Lithuania, with quite a lot from Poland as well. Poland at the time was really taking over Eastern Europe and was producing so much. And for example, the one thing that I remember is cornflakes, because when I arrived in Vilnius, we didn't have cornflakes, and the only way that I could get my favorite cornflakes was to take a trolley bus from the school across the town to the train station, and there was a kiosk there. And in that kiosk, they had bags of Russian cornflakes, and that was the thing that I used to eat every single morning. So when we opened the shop, it was quite something. We brought in big lettuces. In Lithuania, they have a lot of gardens and they produce lettuce, but they're small. So we had these big French lettuces. We had the bananas. We had all sorts of fruit and vegetables. And it was a revolution to have all of these fruit and vegetables just there, and people could go and pick them themselves, because that's not what you would have before. You'd have to be in front of a counter, then go and choose a product, then go and pay for your product, then come back with the ticket, and then get your product. I'm sorry if I repeat myself. I can't remember if I've actually told you this story before about how you bought things in supermarkets. So we have to open. We choose to open on the 14th of July because it's Bastille Day. And we did a special offer on sugar because it's marmalade time in Lithuania. And we had a special offer on sugar, and it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. People would fight to buy sugar. So we had to limit the quantity of packets of sugars available, which might, remind you of course, everything that happened with rice and pasta right at the beginning of the corona crisis. So nothing is new. People behave in the same way all the time throughout history. And then we had roses that we gave to all the women that would come into the shop. One of the things that I did with the sales girls, they have this thing which is called Jventoyono, which is on the 21st of June, which is the longest day. And then with the sales girls, I would and the cashiers, I think you call them hostesses now. We would do this crown of flowers, because it is the Lithuanian tradition for girls on that day to wear crowns of flowers, wild flowers that we made, and then to go and throw them in the river. And then if there was a young man that would pick up their flower crown, then it would be the young man that they would marry. Yes, that was the tradition. So I used to do that with the girls. We used to have a party at every single birthday, and I used to sing Aux Champs-Élysées to them all the time. We had Lithuanian champagnes, which we used to drink a hell of a lot. And so there was a lot of partying going on, but we would be in the shop, at 8 in the morning, and I would be cleaning with them and showing them how to clean with a broom. Because what you have to understand is that in Lithuania at the time, we didn't have modern, like European, North American, whatever, brooms. We had this, so I haven't opened that with you, because I love collecting things that speak about traditional way of life, that really have a story. So these are little brooms. These are decorative brooms that I brought back from Vilnius. You can see I really love them. But these were basically the brooms that we had in the shops. Yes. So we then started importing real, like, well, I mean, these are real, obviously, but the kind of more modern brooms, and especially the one with the hard bristles. And I remember the first time they used them, they turned they were cleaning with the mop, but the bristles in the air in order to actually use the wood to get rid of the dirt. And I mean, all sorts of things that, you know, for you or for me were logical. But of course, because that wasn't part of everyday life, you know, it wasn't there. In the same way that they were cleaning the glass with newspaper. They didn't have cleaning products, so we had to get rid of that and import all of that. And I remember how the wife of the French ambassador at the time used to tell me how the French Foreign Office, did not understand that she wanted to import brooms. They were refusing to send her brooms from Paris because they thought it was just such a stupid concept that they were not brooms already in the country. So that was just really fascinating. So I ended up running this supermarket for a couple of years. And at the beginning, we had 100 staff. And then we went down to about 60. So we started with a lot of people and then decided who we wanted to keep. And what was very interesting is that I spoke some Lithuanian, but I wasn't fluent in my Lithuanian. But from one day to another, I started being fluent because I had to hire people. So my brain just switched on, because it took me 9 months to start to speak Lithuanian. It's a very hard language. So another little object that I bought, it's this kind of cube, you know, that you have when you make words, or on one side, you will have a picture that you make. So it's kind of 4-dimension wooden puzzle. So this is like a typical letter of the Lithuanian alphabet. That's why I bought it. It's a sh. But Lithuanian is not Cyrillic. Okay, it's written in Latin, and the words are completely different from anything that you know. So it's a very hard language to learn. And I had staff who were Russian, Polish, and Lithuanian. But the one thing that I really was adamant about is that everyone had to speak Lithuanian in the shop, because we were in Lithuania and we were not under Soviet occupation anymore. So I made that very, very clear. So sadly, I had to dismiss a lot of young Russian men and women that came to see me, that had lived all their life in Lithuania but couldn't speak the language. Because I told them, you come back when you've learned, but now we are not, you know, this is not part of the big Soviet empire. So this country is independent and you have to respect that. So one of the things as well that we did, which was revolutionary at the time, is that we imported electronic cash machine, yes, which didn't exist at all, because this is what we had in the shop at the time, yes. And I have them in all different sizes, but you would go to the shop and they would calculate on this a boulier. I should have researched the name in English. And I mean, it was completely and utterly nuts to see them counting on this. So from what I remember, one of the thing is used for the 100s and the 10s and the units, and they can subtract and add and divide and multiply on this. And I know that they used to have the same in China, because it is from China. So, I mean, can you imagine doing that now? Being in a world where we buy things and everything is calculated on this, and every cashier's got to use her brain and be like a real expert in mathematics. So all these things, all these changes, that was 1992, 1993. It's completely, we opened the shop on the 14th of July, 1993. It's completely crazy. I'm glad to say, to finish, that Iki became the 3rd largest employer in the country. So I am so proud of having been part of this journey. and that now they've been bought, I think by their competitors, of which I will not say the name because I am a pro-icky girl. But to imagine that I was part of this adventure is really amazing when I look at that. So, you take a risk, you go somewhere, you have no idea, absolutely no idea what's going to happen. You can't write that story, even if you wanted to invent a movie. But when it happens, it's amazing. So I wanted to actually ask you, have you ever been to a country and then worked in that country? And then what did you learn from things that you thought were logical to you, but were not at all because you were in a completely different culture? So I'd love to do that. Thank you very much. And I will do more on Lithuania. But for now, I'm finished because that was a long one. Bye-bye.